Welcome to the Beau Show, the home of faith, family, and freedom. Go woke, go broke. That's been the slogan of conservatives who have been upset that many of their favorite brands have abandoned them in favor of pushing leftist agendas. But before we go any further, I think we have to define what woke is, because we hear it all the time, but it can mean different things to different people. Here's how a liberal, Bill Maher, defined it recently.
Democrats sometimes can take it too far, or I would categorize liberal as different than woke. Woke, which started out as a good thing, alert to injustice, who could be against that, but it became sort of an eye roll because they love diversity except of ideas. And that's not really where we should be. I mean, they have a trail of very bad ideas, I would think, in wokeness. Like,
how do you define wokeness? Because I hear people use the term all the time, and it means something different to everybody.
Well, again, I think it's this collection of ideas that are not building on liberalism, but very often undoing it. I mean, 5 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals. We liked him. Now they take his name off schools and tear down his statues. Really? Lincoln isn't good enough for you? 5-10 years ago, bedrock liberalism was we are striving to be a colorblind society where we don't see race. Of course, we see it, but it doesn't matter. That's not what woke is. Woke is something very different. It's identity politics. We see it all the time. It's always the most important thing. I don't think that's liberalism. I mean, I could mention so many issues like that. I remember doing that show on HBO, Comic Relief for the Homeless. And the idea then, again, among liberals, I thought was, for the sake of compassion, can we get these people off the street so they have a roof over their heads? And now it's like, how dare you try to move the homeless? This is where they live. It's like, again, you change the definitions and then you say, I'm more conservative. I believe what I've always believed. You change these things and then you yell at me for it.
Maher is explaining what has happened to many so-called progressives or moderate Democrats, which is that a younger, more radical ilk of this side of the aisle has hijacked politics to make everything outrage porn. It's looking for a fight when there is not one to be had. It is seeking out offensiveness when no one was really offended. It is offense even by proxy. I am now going to be offended for you because it'll make me feel better about myself that I took your cause up on my shoulders. He also talks about the notion of presentism, which is looking at past conduct and judging it through the lens of today. That wokeness or awareness is what led to cancel culture, finding a way to negate or penalize those from the past who didn't know any better, because some choose to see their behavior only through today's lens. Listen.
So it did turn out that it was okay, because here I am 30 years later, still on. But I get every year when we are looking for, maybe we want new writers on our show. I love the writers I have, but you know what? I'm running a business here.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's brutal, but if I can find somebody better, that's what I'm doing. I always serve the show first. So every year I read these packets of proposed writers, and I read them this year as I do every year, and it's just stunning how uniform their points of view are.
And it hasn't always been that way.
I don't remember, but I don't think it was ever quite this bad. It's the exact same point of view on every single issue. It was by a landslide in 2020, and I still think he would say it's rigged, fake news, deep state. If Trump loses the election in November, he's not going to leave.
You were predicting that in 2018.
Oh, 16.
16 years
Yeah, before he was even president. I said,
he's not going to leave.
Never going to
leave.
Loses.
Yeah.
Right. And I
what made you think that?
Have you seen this man? He's everything wrong with a human being stuffed into one man. I mean, how could he ever do anything different? He is incapable, I think, of ever conceding defeat, and I've never seen him do it. So why would I think he would be gracious ever in that situation, or say he ever lost? And he said it. I mean, even in 2016 when he was running, they would ask him point blank, would you? Well, it's he's basically saying if we win, yes, then it's a fair election. If we don't, it was rigged. He would never actually just come out and say, yes, of course, this is America. This is how we do.
Right.
This is the jewel in our crown in this country. The peaceful transfer of power. Nothing like that.
You've been the great predictor of Donald Trump. You thought he could win. You thought he wasn't
Right.
going to leave peacefully. He's running.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think he's going to get the nomination? And do you think he can beat Joe Biden?
Both.
But both you think affirmatively, or you think they could happen?
Well, first of all, it might not be Joe Biden. I think if it's Biden against Trump, Biden will win. I do. Not guaranteed, but I think that's a really good bet. It was the first time, and I think it would be the second time even more so.
Maher, even as a liberal, has the common sense to look at this woke nonsense and call it what it is: total nonsense. What is most insidious about wokeness is not just its absurdity, but how it got adopted into our culture, our entertainment, and even our corporations. We can't even look at a box of rice without getting offended. And because these CEOs and marketing teams played along, we started seeing this overhaul of corporate strategy. Only recently have we been alerted to which companies are doing this, and just as importantly, why. Consumers Research is an independent educational 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to increase the knowledge and understanding of issues, policies, products, and services of concern to consumers, and to promote the freedom to act on that knowledge and understanding. According to their website, Consumers Research was founded in 1929 with the mission to educate and protect consumers from harmful products. Frederick J. Schlink, the founder of Consumers Research, started the organization with the intent to answer the question who or what best serves the consumer during a time when there was little to no consumer protection laws or oversight. Consumers Research quickly became a top resource for consumer advocacy and product testing. Today, these values still hold true, as Consumers Research has evolved from a product-focused organization to a broader consumer advocacy organization, focused on educating consumers on the policies, products, and services of concern to them, and to promote the freedom to act on that knowledge and understanding. During the mid-1920s, Schlink co-authored the best-selling book, Your Money's Worth, which studied the marketing practices of the time, highlighting how difficult it was for consumers to know the true value of the products they purchased. As the book grew in popularity, Schlink assisted in the formation of a consumers club to give consumers critical and competent information on products. By 1929, the club evolved into Consumers Research, Inc., with Schlink as founder and technical director. Consumers Research's mission is, quote, to increase the knowledge and understanding of issues, policies, products, and services of concern to consumers, and to promote the freedom to act on that knowledge and understanding. First launched in May of 2021, the Consumers First initiative has exposed numerous companies that have chosen to put woke politics above consumer interests. With the Consumers First initiative, we are putting corporations on notice, they say. It's time to start serving your customers and stop serving woke politicians. Some of the corporations that Consumers Research has analyzed are Nike, American Airlines, Coca-Cola, BlackRock, Ticketmaster, Major League Baseball, Levi's, Amex, State Farm, and Uber. One of the factors that goes into this research is ESG. And you might not be totally aware of what that is, so they explain it on their website in detail. ESG stands for Environmental, Social, Governance, and is used as an investment strategy to encourage organizations to act responsibly. ESG works by analyzing organizations across three criteria: their environmental footprint, their stance on social issues, and internal corporate governance. However, political activists use ESG as a way to drive a progressive agenda, and ideological allies in the business community help push this agenda through economic coercion. and ignoring the democratic process. Environmental. This focuses on the progressive green agenda, driven by misguided strategies to combat climate change and reduce carbon emissions through forcing financial investments into certain energy markets. Social. This focuses on specific social criteria that works to force companies to adhere to political demands to maintain good financial investment status, even when the political issues have nothing to do with the company's business. And finally, governance. This focuses on certain political contributions, the diversity makeup, and political activism of a company's board, as well as the CEO pay as a measure of whether a company is a good financial investment. Recently, Consumers Research has launched woke alerts, where consumers can be alerted to any nonsense woke action by corporations. According to the Epoch Times, people can sign up for woke alert notifications through the Consumers Research website. Members will begin receiving alerts from the nonprofit about any company that pushes a leftist woke agenda, as well as the reasons driving such actions. The initiative states, many corporations are putting progressive activists and their dangerous agendas ahead of customers. They'll only succeed if we look the other way. Keep watching at epochtv.com/The Beau Show.